Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 77.
Ooh.
And joining me today is Marianne Amelinckx.
Yes. Hello, Eddie.
Yes. Yes, thanks for, lovely to see you. Welcome back to LA.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is so cool. Episode.
2 of the same numbers back to back. 2 sevens. Okay. All right. Well, for starters, I just want to lay some foundational character building work on who you are. You're not a character. You're a real person.
Yeah. Or subject. I guess. I don't know.
You are a director. And
Yes.
assistant director.
Yes.
And should we throw anything else on that list, or are those the two
yeah, and
two mains?
yeah, professionally, yeah, and then Venezuelan. I don't know if that matters, but sure, that's also true.
And Venezuelan.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I guess we met on set wearing our I'll call them our secondary hats, maybe. Should I call them, or is there a first hats? How do you see it? I was a script supervisor. I came on, and then I met you, and I thought you were awesome on set as our
Thank
first
you.
AD.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And now we're like best friends now.
Yay.
But okay, yeah. So, how do you see the two hats? How do you see it?
Yeah, like sometimes ADing is the first hat financially, as you could say, but it's not something that or it's something that I am actually proud of, because it's something that I've been doing for quite a long time, and it's something that has given me the opportunity to learn a lot about, well, directing, and also learn a lot about things that I don't like, things that I would say like, oh, this I don't know, director here, I didn't really like how they did this or that, and I'm like, okay, so that's a learning for me. So that's a cool thing about being an AD. But yeah, I would say sometimes it's the first hat. How did you say that?
I don't know.
Okay. Sometimes it's that, but eventually I would rather be I would rather the directing part be the primarily thing that I'm more like recognized for, or that I have more work for.
Yeah. I guess too, like I think about it in terms of, like you kind of put it in the perspective of, well, the first AD hat is what keeps me living. Like that's the money hat.
Yeah.
And then the dream hat is the directing hat. So I guess like I was thinking more about like energy, like mental energy in the pursuit side, like how much you're trying to grow one side. Like let's just imagine if we go into metaphor world here.
Okay.
We have two plants that we're watering.
Okay.
And which one of them we're more excited to see grow than the other.
Yes.
So I guess that's how I was kind of seeing the priority in which more love is given to this plant than the other plant, because you're hoping that this one brings the fruit that whatever.
The flowers, Yeah. One is more like the ones that just grows and like it gets bigger and bigger, and it's like, okay, nice. And the other one is the one that, blooms and has some flowers.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that you're hoping will bloom.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So so using that metaphor, which plant is which plant?
Yeah, and I'm literally thinking of the plants I have in my house. And I would say the ADing plant is the one that just like grows in a beautiful way, right? Because ADing also gives me the opportunity to meet new people, like yourself, for example. And that's really, really great, because I meet crew, I meet actors, which sometimes I'm like, they're good, like, okay, we could work together maybe in the future. But then the directing part, it's for me the kind of like the plant that has the little flowers, the flowers that sometimes that take time to bloom, but when they bloom is beautiful. You see, to give the metaphor.
Okay, great. Yes. No, that's wonderful. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that makes sense. Yeah, that was my assumed direct, because I don't imagine I don't maybe there are people out there like this where it's like, well, actually being a first AD is my passion,
Oh yeah.
and I just direct because I need to make money. Like that's not
I don't know.
uh,
I like I've met first ADs who just do first ADing and they love it, and well, they have a lot of money, I guess. But they're great, and they have no like aspirations on becoming a director. They just like
oh,
to
for
do
sure.
ADing, and they're very good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Well, I guess maybe, I don't know. We haven't, okay. I'm thinking about people watching that have no idea what we were just talking about with being a first AD.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I believe you may be. I was gonna sift through the archives to be like, have I talked to anybody else that has dedicated first AD experience? And I think you may be the first one on the block.
I'm the first AD. Yay!
You're the first.
Yeah.
So, would you mind explaining what a first AD stands for first assistant director? That's because there's often multiple assistant
Yes.
director department people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're the head of the food chain there.
Yeah.
What does a first AD do on a film set?
Um, okay, so whenever I'm trying to explain to like my aunt, or my uncle who have no idea of how the set works, I normally tell them like I'm the manager of the set, the one like if the crew and the set was a store, um, there's always someone that is kind of like checking on all departments to see how the things are going and how we are keep moving forward. And that's basically what a first AD does on set. So the first AD has some work on pre-production, some work on production, and then no work on post-production, thankfully. But during the shoot, the first AD is the one that makes sure that talent arrives on time, or that they arrived on time and they are sitting on the chair, on makeup and hair chair, and they are ready. And you keep track on these departments to make sure that the actors are ready for set whenever they are needed. While that happens, you talk with the cinematographer, and then you make sure that his plan for lighting is going to be ready at the time you need it. And then same with the sound department, wardrobe, and then who am I missing? Um,
That's it. No, I'm just kidding.
no,
No,
that's
I'm sure there's plenty that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and of course the many things that you have to always like, kind of like how to say this, but you have to be kind of like on guard. I don't know if this is the correct term, but you have to be ready for any problem, and you have to think fast and try to come up with solutions that will make everyone happy, basically. And in fact, my business card, it doesn't say AD or director, it says creative problem solver.
Okay, nice. That's true.
Because,
Yes. Yeah, both the director and the assistant director almost on a little bit of different wavelengths are that's kind of the jobs is
yeah,
trying to get what you want
yeah.
with all these other things being thrown at you that get in the way.
Exactly. So I
Okay.
don't know. Was that a good
I think
explanation?
so. I think so. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's great.
Good.
I don't know, I was gonna recontextualize, but I don't think I need to.
Ah, well, there's one. Well, that's first AD, but then you mentioned also the other ADs on the
Okay, sure,
assistant
sure.
director team. Just, so people maybe watching this and maybe learning something. So the first AD is on set, and the second AD, and there's also like sometimes a second AD. Those are the crew members who help all these things that I said happen as well. For example, the first AD might be on set with the cinematographer, going through the shot list, while the second AD is actually helping with the talent, to have them get it on the chair and then onto wardrobe and stuff like that. And then the second, when you have a lot of extras, that's when sometimes you need a second AD who will help the background actors, which I like to call them actually. Um, you know.
Yeah, I think yeah. Okay. Yeah, they changed somehow. I don't know who called this, but it was like an official industry
Oh yeah.
change when we stopped calling extras, and now we call extras background.
Yeah.
I think there was a shift at some point, but yeah,
Yeah, and
background actors.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's better.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's nicer, and they always have very interesting stories that they like to share with the second AD when you are waiting with them.
So you've done some second work too.
I've done, yeah, in the past.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah,
never
for
done
sure.
it.
No, yeah, I've done it, and I actually find them, the background actors, very interesting, very very interesting. They will tell you stuff like, "Yes, I acted with Robert De Niro on this film," and it's like, okay, yes, they were the background
Yeah,
actors,
yeah, they've been
but it's cute.
they've seen some things.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a whole. Okay. I don't want to dive too. We'll come back to first AD life, where we
Sure.
can hear we can talk more about that process and maybe certain circumstances and story times and
Oh
stuff. I'm
yeah.
sure there's stuff that's there. But I want to come to the directing stuff. I have some
Okay.
questions. I
Okay.
have some questions.
Sounds good.
Let me see what they are.
Okay.
All right. Well, question number one. Well, this is a vague question. It was asked to me recently and it threw me off, so I'm going to throw it at you. It's like,
Okay.
all right, hey, well, first of all, do you write
Yes.
as well? So
Yeah.
do you often write the projects that you're directing?
Yeah. Basically, that's what I've done in the past. I like to say I'm a better director than writer, but just because I think I have that skill more, like it's a more strong skill. But yes.
Okay. So what kind of stories do you like to write?
Oh. Well, I normally say that my like filmmaking soul is divided into two, or split into two. One is a very like melancholic kind of indie, moody type of stories that I like to write. And then on the other side, when I was in film school, I did my thesis on sitcoms, on comedy,
Okay.
and that's the other half. So I like to also write about, or write comedy basically. But yes, I normally am more inclined to melancholic, kind of like impossible love stories, something like that,
Okay.
than comedy. But I also enjoy that part.
Okay, great. That was a great answer. All right. So, I want to hear about your. Okay, I don't know. We can talk about directing process. We can
Okay.
talk about a little bit of maybe we travel back in time and learn about what brought you to the director chair,
Okay.
why directing. Let's start there.
Okay.
The big questions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very, directing is like a very beautiful job, and I'm gonna get like super like poetic,
Sure.
but I think it's a very beautiful job because um, it's a very collaborative job as well, and I remember that I read something at some point by that Ava DuVernay
Yeah.
said, and she said something like that she likes directing. This is not her quote, but was something along those lines. That she likes directing because at the end, Her name is what it's going to be on the screen, directed by Ava DuVernay. But then while she's shooting, she listens to this all like the head of departments or whatever, the people she's working with, because sometimes they have, better ideas on how to solve problems, that will come up on a shoot on a regular day. So yeah, it's a very beautiful job because of that, of the collaborative essence of it. Does that answer the question,
Of the
or
why?
why? Kinda.
Kinda. I guess I will, just since you handed it off, I will just add
Yes. Yeah.
slash agree with how collaborative it is and how
Mhm.
trusting the team that you have is yeah, because
Very
I'm
important.
so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about, I know, like, we work on set often enough where
Mhm.
we watch lots of directors, and so typically, let's just say, if your dream is to direct, there's a high likely chance that even if you do, like, if directing is all you want to do and you avoid doing anything else except directing, you're likely not going to be on set as often
Yeah.
as the crew
Yeah.
who are dedicated in their fields.
Yeah.
So the sound person who's all they do is sound, they're working all the time, they see all the scenarios. So if something comes up where there's a sound issue, I see some newer directors think that they're supposed to be the problem solver, and they try to present
Mm,
solutions and are not listening to the expert in the field
exactly.
that they've hired on. It's
Exactly.
like, well, this person's probably been through this. Maybe just hand it on, like, listen to
Yeah,
them.
and they
And
probably know the solution.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
happens with every department. It's like, if there's a lighting thing, you know who to talk to. If there's a costumes thing, you know who to talk to. So it's the team, they're experts. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
trust your
Yeah.
people. But yes,
Yes.
Ava DuVernay, great. Okay, but the why, was that your answer to why directing?
No, and I mean, I really like I would say yes, that was my answer. Just because I
Which I
really
don't mean to
like
laugh.
the collaborative
Okay,
essence of
yes,
it,
yes, yes.
of of working like that.
I guess I will elaborate further on the question.
Okay.
I love the answer. I love all those aspects because I direct as well. All right, just to re-clarify, I
Yes.
direct
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I mentioned. Okay. Um, is let's say let's again go back before you had experienced the collaborative process to the extent that you have. What made you want to jump into directing in the first place too? Like, that's
Yeah. That takes me back to like when I was 15 years old, and actually what made me want to go to film school, because at the beginning I thought I wanted to be an editor.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, that being an editor also comes very handy, or knowing how to edit. Although being an editor has its own technical skills, because I've worked with editors who are like magicians with the keyboard, and like, and like a
Yeah.
thing that takes me a minute to do, they have a shortcut on their keyboard, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, when I was 15, I read this novel by a Venezuelan author. I was in high school by that time. And it's you know how Venezuela has this background, I would say background, of being an oil producer country, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And this novel that I read called Oficina Número Uno, or Office Number One, was about a small town that was kind of like founded on the late 20s in Venezuela. And there was this, like, an American company working over there in Venezuela, kind of like, how do you say, extracting the oil?
That sounds like the right word to me.
Okay. So they were there, and there's this lady with her mother that moved from her town, her hometown, moved to this kind of like, it wasn't even a town when they moved there. There was just like, I don't know, 20 people living there, and then the Americans who lived on like nicer houses. And then town starts to grow, people starts to get in, more oil starts to being more oil starts being extracted. I don't know how to say
Yeah, sure.
that.
They're expanding. Yeah,
Yes,
whatever's going on over there.
exactly. But it's a very, very interesting novel, and it talks a lot about, well, you know, how Venezuela uh, transitioned from being kind of like a country that had not that many highways, or these ways of communicating the country, um, and then it became kind of like a new country where everything was blooming and flourishing, I
Yeah,
guess.
it was getting developed. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So when I read this, I said, I want to make this movie. And that's how I said, okay, I want to go to film school and make movies, um, by reading a book and adapting it. So I have like that thing that also always has interested me, the adapting, something that's already been written, adapting it to the screen.
Okay, yeah. So you found a story that hadn't been told, and you figured, yeah, somebody's got to tell the story, and why
Yeah.
not? Why not me?
Yeah.
And then you actively, yeah, you went to film school. Okay,
Yes, yes,
great.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, great. No, it's lovely. Because I didn't go to film school, so I'm always kind of like fascinated with like people who like I'm like I don't know how anybody knows what they want to do. Like that's a whole like a lot of people,
Hmm.
even after you've decided what you're gonna do,
Yeah.
still be like, is this? Am I happy? Is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
This is really hard. Um, so okay, yes. So you mentioned editor. I just want to ask about that really quick too. When you how what was your experience with film prior? Let's say like prior to reading the story. Did you had you touched cameras and edited stuff before, and that's how you knew editor was kind of on the table, or how did
Well,
that
no, the editor part
or is,
came into the table or into my life, or became an idea in my head when I started film school. Like,
oh,
and
okay,
it was
okay.
only for like 3 semesters. Then I was
You
like, okay, no, I want to direct.
so you were in the editing chair, and you're like you didn't like it,
Yeah,
or
I liked it. No, I liked it. I'm like, oh, this is cool, but I think I like more directing
yeah,
than
you want to
editing.
work with the people. That's
Yes.
probably the
Yeah, that's
difference.
true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I think that's it. That editing is a very beautiful process, but it's
It could be lonely.
exactly. And I mean, it's okay, I guess. You can get used to it, or if you really like it, then it's great. But yes, working with the
Yeah,
people is nice.
yeah. Especially these days, it's quite the virtual
Hmm.
experience. Oh, ideally you can get into the room with the editor at some point, but they still do a lot of work on their own, and
Yeah.
they're getting stuff from sound, and it's just all emails
Yeah.
and attachments and files and blah blah
Yes,
blah.
yes, yes.
But it is still beautiful because
Yes.
what they make.
Yes. It's writing the movie on for the third time. That's what they
Yes,
say.
yes. Okay. Where did you go to film school?
I went to film school in my hometown in Mérida, Venezuela.
Oh.
Yes, it's actually like the only public university that has a degree on film. You can go, you can specialize, right, on directing, producing, cinematography, and sound. So I took the directing specialization, the directing branch, and I come from this small town called Merida, or small city called Merida, and it's kind of like a college city or city college. How do you call it?
College City.
College city, right? With campus like spread
Yeah, the
around
whole
the.
town
Mhm.
revolves around like it's kind of the whole personality, and
Yes,
everybody's there because of the college. Yeah.
exacto. So I come from that small town, and when I was 15, when I was like, well, discovering kind of like what I wanted to do and a lot of things about myself, I was crazy to get out of there, to get out of my hometown and to move to Caracas, the capital, where
Ooh.
yeah, where I've always like go to when I was, small or when I was little, and I would always be like in love with that city. And My dad, I talked to him and I said, okay, I want to go to film school. And he's like, okay, that sounds cool. Okay, you be good at it. That's that's what
Supportive.
exactly. That's cool. But then when I told him, yeah, but I want to go to study this in Caracas. In Caracas, there is two universities that offered something that was kind of like film school, but it was not film school per se. It was more like mass communication studies. Like you study like journalism, advertising, and film in one career,
Okay.
right?
All right.
And a little bit of social studies or sociology.
Well, yeah, what kind of stuff were you learning in that? What?
No, but that's the thing. I told my dad, okay, I
Okay.
wanna study this and I wanna do it in Caracas. But the thing is that in Caracas, the universities were private, so they were paid. In Venezuela, public universities are free, which is amazing. And this has happened since the 70s, not since the revolution.
Okay.
Just
So there's some debates out there. All
yes, 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 yes. And I just want to make sure that people know that public universities in Venezuela were made public since the 70s and free. So my dad said, like, oh, daughter, I am very supportive, but we don't have the money to send you to Caracas, pay for your living there, pay for your university there. And I don't know how it works here, but over there, when you're in high school, you do a test that gives you a grade, and if you have like good grades from like your years in high school, and then your answers, you have like a good grade in the test itself, you can get into the university. And
Yeah.
I got in.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, that's not happening. Like, you're not going to Caracas, you're going to study here. And actually that was really good for me at the end. One, because I got to study film, not like another career that had some classes on film. And then I was lucky enough to live with my parents, so I didn't really have to worry about working or on how I was going to pay rent or pay the university, because I was living there. So I got to focus a lot on my studies, and that was really, really cool.
So, okay, great. I was thinking about, just to clarify, you ended up, so there's so the college you ended up going to, was that the more broad one, the free college you went to?
Yeah, that's a public university. It's called Universidad de los
Yeah.
Andes. I have to mention it,
Yeah.
ULA, as you could say. And that's more like the career is film,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then the bigger city college that you would have had to pay for, that was the one with the journalism and the, okay,
Yes.
that was a little bit more of the broad stroke of media.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. And then, yeah, just to clarify too, it works pretty similar here
Okay.
as well. Like in
Okay.
high school, I don't know if they still do this. I don't know how it works anymore. But yeah, it was like you get tested in your senior year or junior year or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and it's like the ACTs and the
Uh-huh.
SAT scores, and that kind of dictates if you qualify for certain, it makes you more attractive to
Exactly.
colleges.
Exactly.
The higher those scores are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I stayed in my hometown too and stayed with my parents as well.
Nice.
It wasn't free though.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah.
College here is different.
Yeah, that's too crazy. I mean, I guess it is how it is here, But I was very lucky to go to film school for free, for
Well,
sure.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's my biggest, yeah, either way. That's my biggest cringe factor when I normally hear film school. I'm like, how much did you pay? But if you went for free, it sounds lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely. You just had to, like, the university even helped us, with food from the, how do you call the big place?
Like a cafeteria.
The cafeteria, let's say. They will give us, the not the prepared food, but the supplements like tomatoes and whatever, and you could go and prep the
almost like a market.
and you could go and prep your food for your shoots. So we had a great support from the school for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a little bit on your origins as a filmmaker.
Yes.
Now, I know because I know we've met up and we chatted before, so I know
Yeah.
there's an extensive I don't know if we want to jump into it, but there's an extensive history of your travels from Venezuela to how you got to Los Angeles. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like a whole hopping around journey
Yeah.
there too. We can do that, or we can talk about projects too. I don't know what's or maybe
Um.
I don't know. You want we can let's touch a little bit on it. Cause
Yeah.
yeah,
Since we are on
we're
it. Huh?
here.
Yeah. 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 Yes. But what do you want me to?
So okay,
And let me drink a little bit of water.
please go for it. So you went. I'm thinking about you went to film school. You got to study the craft, practice the craft, stay with your family, and then like you kind of said, you had the burning. You had that fire inside where you're like, I want to get out of this. I want to,
Yes.
you wanted to leave already, and then you stayed, and then it's like, okay, well, now I really want to leave. I'm sure it's probably kind of boiling there, especially
Mm-hmm.
because school's done.
Yeah.
Where is the obvious place to go next if you want to be a filmmaker? What was like? How did you decide where to go after film school?
Um, well, I always had this love for Caracas, right? The capital, the
Yeah.
big city. That was also the city where most of the jobs were, regarding, filmmaking wise. So yeah, 2 weeks after graduating, I moved. And I just, I took the leap basically. I had a couple friends in Caracas who were kind of like waiting for a disbursement for a project that they were about to do. This was a series for young adults in like a public TV channel. Um, and that ended up happening, thankfully. So I'm like, I don't know, 3 weeks later or a month later after I moved, we started working on that project. And that was like it was my second professional job. I was a second AD on that one, on that series. And it was so interesting because I moved, like, Caracas is divided into two big areas, let's say. I mean, it's like a big city. It has a bunch of small areas, but you can say like there's the east, and then there's the west. The east is like the east can have middle class people, like where I lived, but then it also, where the rich people live, right? And then the west part also, like, okay, middle class, but then also where like lower class citizens live. And I used to live in this kind of like, in the border of the east and the west, and I would have to commute every day, like an hour and a half, like take a bus and then subway, 2 lines, and go to this job that I told you. It was a TV series called Barrio Sur. And it was so cool because it was shot on a barrio, like favela, or I don't know how to say that in English, because I think there's a word for it. It's called slums, but I think slums, like, I when I say that, I think of this the Indian movie.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Uh-huh. That's a little bit too radical, like we weren't that bad on those sets, I would say.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting because it was a work with a community. And for me, since I was working there and just moved to Caracas, I ended up being kind of also a witness of how like people in the east lived and also in the west. So it was really cool. And then I ended up living in Caracas for 4 years after that, after I moved, and working as an assistant director. I started on this TV series, and then I switched to features, which was lovely because, like I said, I had the opportunity to work with different directors, different stories, different actors. The crew was kind of like always the same because the industry is not so big over
Yeah,
there.
I'm sure.
But it was really nice to see the contrast, between the locations that were where we shot.
Okay, so that's where you kind of got your first sampling of the production,
Yeah,
the AD side of things.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was 4 years there.
Yeah, 4 years there, and yeah, working on features with very
Yeah,
interesting
because I mean
stories.
that's the lovely part about being in film too is you get to see things. You
Yeah.
get to go around like you said. Like it's kind of cool. Like even just like you said, like you're living in the middle of the city that's dividing the
Mm-hmm.
this is the rich side and the more less rich side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And getting to because like you said you had like built up the city for a long time and living there
Yeah.
and now you're there right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was enough work going on there where you can sustain yourself for like I don't know how big if it's not LA or New York, I'm always confused on like how
Yeah.
much work is there really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, during those years, this was from 2013 to 2017. Um, During those years, there was work. I would say I was actually good at my job as well, so I had opportunities.
It's helpful.
Yeah, that's helpful. And I don't know. In those years, I think I worked in like 4 or 5 features. Um, yeah, and they were all very different from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, one director that worked, I don't know, with 6 actresses, and the story was like a 1 day story. And then a director that worked or that had a story about a father and a son who had to flee their kind of like barrio or favela because of something the kid did, and they moved from this very like poor place to a house that was under construction in a very rich residence part of the city. But then there was another one that wanted his film to look pretty all the time, which is, good, also.
Sure.
So it was very different and very cool to see that through those 4 years, 4 years and a half.
Yeah, did you have a chance to what did you do during that time as far as I'll go back to the metaphor, watering the
Yes.
directing plant. Like how was that coming along through all this?
Well, that part for the directing part, the plant didn't have that much water, just because I was really focused on growing professionally, right?
Yep, yep.
And this is me. How old I was? I like 22, 23 when I moved. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and
right out of college age. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I knew, at least I knew that I was not ready for a feature. And in film school I did some shorts. You had to do quite a bunch shorts, like more, some better than the others,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But during those years in Caracas, the directing plant didn't get watered that much until 2016, when one of the directors that I was working with, we have this like Venezuelan film committee. The United States, I don't think they have like an official like national thing like that. No,
No, not at all.
exactly. And like Venezuela has, like France has it, and I'm pretty sure many other
Like Canada
countries.
has something too,
Exact,
I think.
Mexico too. So yeah, it's like the government gives you money to create, right? To
Yep,
produce.
yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So he tells me, "Hey, Marianne, so he heard someone told him that there weren't that many short film projects on that, submission phase that we were on in 2016." And he said, "Do you have something, like write something and like apply?" Because I think like he believed in me, which was really cool. And he said, apply to something. And I had this story on my mind for like 2 years that I never really like wrote down, about two girls on a pool that were friends. And I decided to apply, to do that. And that's how in 2016 I got funds to direct like my first professional short film, although it was made, thankfully, with like the support of the Venezuelan Film Committee, but also with the support of my film school. Without them, like they gave us the equipment and all of that, because my DP that was his thesis. So we had like a nice
Okay, okay.
collaboration. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're able to connect those two worlds.
Yeah.
And so, okay, cool. So you kind of went back to the school in a way to look for your DP. Is that how that happened? Or how did that?
Well, I worked with him before. He's a Camilo, that's his name, Camilo Paparoni. He's a great, great, great DP. And we worked together when I was in film school, like he DP'd or he DP'd some of my friends' shorts. Also, my thesis, the sitcom that I told you about, or like the thesis that I did about sitcoms. At the end of that process, I had to do like a small pilot with like a 3 camera audience and all of that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was very cool. He DP'd that, and yeah, we had a good relationship. And when I talked to him about this project that I was submitting to the application Venezuelan Film Committee stuff, he was very excited. And then he said that he was looking for a project for his thesis. So that's how the
Okay.
collaboration happened.
Ooh, everything lines up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, yes, yes. No, and it was great because also the thing with Venezuela is that inflation is just like crazy. So whenever we got the approval from the Venezuelan Film Committee, the money was already like half of what we thought, in the beginning.
oh.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
crazy.
Yeah. So thankfully we had that support, from the film school, because if not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Yes. And just to clarify, the name of that's Salta, right?
Yes, that's Salta or dive in English. Yeah.
Salta.
Yeah.
And that film, to clarify for those listening and watching, is currently available to view
Yes.
via. I was gonna say it's currently at. You can find it on Vimeo.
Yes.
It's easy access through your Instagram. You have it like the link
Yeah.
literally in your bio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So check out the film. I know
Yeah.
I've watched it.
And also, if you want to watch it on the TV and you have Amazon Prime, you can also watch it on Prime Video.
Oh my word.
Yes.
There you go.
And give me like 10 cents for the watch.
There you go. Yeah, it's not we don't it's not about the no, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So all right. You get the funds, you get the cuz I know we hadn't really talked about this film yet because I know you sent it to me and I watched it and
Yeah.
it was lovely. And I was like thinking about I don't know how people do that. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Is how because there's lots of cool shots. There's lots of stuff going on in this film, and I'm like, I just, when I think about my early stuff
Yeah.
and how bad it all is. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you able to make something? Because this project got accepted into Tribeca.
Yes. Yeah. And got the jury's
Yeah.
mention.
Had the world premiere Tribeca 2017.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very cool. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, your first creative narrative directorial piece, professional piece that as you called it, is at that level. I'm like, how did you, what was your process? How did you prep for it? How did you know what you were doing? Okay, I could.
No,
I have
no,
guesses,
no.
but no, I don't want to feed or guess too much. Okay, go.
Well, the process was
Let's start with the script. How did you develop that? Where did the idea come from? And then how did you know the script was ready and this was the one?
well, the idea came from this image that I had of 2 teenage girls, 2 best friends, lying down on a diving platform at night talking. At that time, I was also like trying to come out to my parents, so I knew this story would had to have some kind of like queer. I don't know how to say it. What
Element?
precisely. So from that image that I had of these 2 teenage girls talking at night, kind of like they ran away from something, and now they ended up there. I developed the story, and one of my favorite films is Stranger Than Fiction, which is a film with Emma Thompson, Will Ferrell,
Yes, it's an
and
interesting film.
yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal. And it's about this author who, in her stories, she always kills the protagonist. And I feel very identified with that. I don't know why I have like this also like thing. And this story of Salta, the short film, I knew that at some point I also wanted one of the girls to die. Spoiler alert, but it's a short film. You can watch it and it's okay. So yeah, but I also knew that I wanted very subtle and very nice moments between the two of them, very like kind of like naive also, because it's a coming of age story. So writing the script didn't take me that long, because like actual writing, the idea in my head, like I said, I had like for 2 years in my head, but I never like really sat down to write it. One, because I didn't know how to get the funds to produce it, and then also because I was very busy working as an AD on features in Caracas, right?
Yeah.
But then when this opportunity came, I applied. Like I sat down and wrote the script, kind of like quickly. At the beginning, the script was much bigger than or like needed more money than what we actually ended up doing. But we just reduced it until like its essence. And yeah, like the process of getting the funds was also a process that took time, because red tape and bureaucracy,
Sure.
that takes time. But then I also worked with two directors that they liked shooting with, like they had a script, but they liked shooting without the actors really knowing the lines or knowing, what happens on the scenes, which was a little bit stressful as an AD.
Yeah, it's hard to plan when you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the stressful part, or what's the stressful
No, the
part?
stressful part is the time it takes
Right. Yeah.
to
That's what. Yeah.
shoot and to get the
I
scene.
guess that's what I meant, but it's hard to plan. Like it's hard to build your schedule if you're like,
exactly.
well, we're feeling things out here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But that's how I shot the the short film. But we had but like I had my AD background, right? My best friend was doing the assistant director, the AD on that short. He ended up also being the editor. He's a great editor, and we also had, I think it was 5 days to shoot the film, which is very a long time for a short film, I would say.
Yeah. How long? What's the ending running time on it?
Like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13.
That sounds healthy. 5 days is pretty good.
Yeah, and that's sorry, and that's how and why we shot. Like the actresses never really read the script. When I casted them, I just asked them two questions. Is one, would you jump off of a diving platform? I knew we weren't going to ask them from the like really high one, but the middle one. And then, would you kiss a girl? And surprisingly, there was one actress that said no, and she, of course, didn't make it. But those were the two things that I mainly asked. And then during the rehearsals, we would do situations that kind of like were very much like the scenes that we were going to shoot on the like actual sets. So yeah, we had 5 days or 5 days and a half, I believe, actually. And there were a few scenes that were, like couple scenes that were cut off. I might actually post them on Instagram soon. I'm thinking about that.
Okay, the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Sure.
kind of like fun, like 5 years after, but sure.
Yeah, better late than never.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, cool content, I guess, or at least for me.
Sure. Yeah, it's fun to share.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking about what you were saying about. I'm thinking about the casting process, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking about. You're talking about the actors like playing it a little bit more so. I don't know if the correct term here is improvisational, or
Mm-hmm.
how, like you said, you were inspired by watching some directors use a technique where they didn't really, the actors didn't know what was going on or how it was going to end,
Yeah.
and you implemented that strategy on your project.
Yeah.
At the same time, there is a written script.
Yeah.
So how do you, where's the balance on that flexibility with also knowing what you're trying to get with utilizing a person that doesn't know what you're, how does that,
No, it was like the first day was tougher, right? Because well, we were all trying to find the way.
yeah, you had to establish the routine.
Yes, but I also knew that we had a script, that we had something that we could just like, okay, now it's time to take the script and let's read it and let's read this scene and then just do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So that happened actually on the first day with one specific scene. It's just like, okay, girls, this is what's happening on this scene. You're gonna say this. You're gonna say this. Like, let's just have a quick read. Because what I didn't really want is that they were too. I don't know if too rehearsed is a bad thing because sometimes rehearsing a lot is really good. But in this case, I just want them to be more organic and more natural. And they were young actors, as you know, like they were just starting their career. They were 18-year-olds, ladies,
Yeah.
or yeah. So yeah, I knew that it was important for me to get like reactions that were not on the script and that might surprise us. But I also knew that the clock was ticking and that we had to get the scenes in the time we were scheduled. And me being also as an assistant director, I'm like, okay, it's time to take the script out.
Yeah. So did they not have the script at all prior to filming, or did they have it, or you didn't, you cast them, you told them to show up, but they had no idea. Like
Yeah, they
they didn't
had
have,
no
they
idea.
never had it until.
No, they had no idea. They had no idea. In fact, they so much had no idea. I don't know if this is correct, but
Sure.
that like I said, one of the characters dies on the short, and she didn't know, and because they were like just 18 years old, I really talked with their parents, about what we were doing and all that. And with the parents of Andrea, the girl that plays Amanda, the character that dies, I talked to them and said, okay, so whenever we shoot the swimming competition, because there's a swimming competition, um, I'm going to ask Andrea to kind of like float as if she just died. And I don't want you guys to feel scared or anything because like this is like part of the story is that the character dies and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, sure, no problem. And when I told her on that day, because I told her on that day when we were shooting that scene, she was like, oh my god, my character dies. And I'm like, yes, but people are gonna love you and remember you for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking, yeah, that's interesting. It almost feels like if this were a TV show, they're like, "Oh no, I don't get to come back for the next episode, or I'm done. This is it."
Exactly.
But it's still that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But and then at the same time, you're telling the actors to not, because it's the double. This is the double acty thingy, right? It's like she's pretending to
Mhm.
be dead.
Yeah.
So just know that, but also react as if
Yeah.
she's dead.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to clarify that. Versus, I guess we'll call it. This isn't the correct. I'm not gonna use the word. So what I was gonna say is the crazy director thing to do would be to put the actors up, have her fake die, and then get the genuine reaction to something.
Yes.
But that's messed up. Don't do that. Did you do it?
I mean,
You didn't do
we
it.
we
You
tried.
said you tried it.
We tried with the other actress, like to see her reaction, but she didn't really understood what was happening. And of course she like
Yeah.
it was okay that she didn't understand. So I went and explained it to her, and she was like, oh my god, she does, yes, oh. And then we got her
Yeah,
reaction
because I could
because
see
she knew.
I could see the confusion of
Yeah.
like when you're on camera, you're like, Something's not right.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the thing of being a director, you know, you like try things, they don't work out, then find the solution, you know, and the solution here was just, okay, let's just, I wanted to test it, didn't work out. Okay, now let's do it as it normally you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What?
I must say, she knew that the other, like when she saw Andrea like floating, it's like, okay, what's she doing? You know, like is she not listening to, you know, like what's happening?
Yeah.
You know, it was not like a very very bad thing to do. It was just like, okay, let's see. Oh, she doesn't react. Okay, she didn't get it.
Right.
Okay,
Right. Right.
yeah,
No, I can see it.
yeah,
Good clarification.
yes.
All right. Um. Okay. What was your biggest takeaway from directing that piece? Like, as from the director's perspective, like the even to this day, you're like, okay, that was the lesson that I came away with making that. If you had any, I'm sure you did.
Um, biggest takeaway. Um, I would say there are moments to do kind of like an improvisation, you know, kind of like the things that we did throughout the film. Um, and even though I love working like that, I would say now I would kind of like split that and just find the moments on a script that could work as, okay, these scenes could be improvised. You know, let's not like, maybe I'm not going to give these scenes to the actors, but then these other, they have to be rehearsed and they have to be ready. Because I also, like I said, I was very privileged to have 5 days of shooting. But working here in LA, you don't get like having 5 days to shoot is very expensive, and getting the funds to shoot those 5 days is hard. So I also have seen how good and how cool it is to have everything ready and be super effective. Like I also really like that. So I would say that's like my biggest takeaway. And it might sound cheesy too, but also
Sure.
one of the dreams was from me before shooting, just when I applied to the Venezuelan Film Committee program, my dream was to get on Tribeca. Like that was the dream. And well, we really pushed for it and we applied and we got in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you say you really pushed for it, what is that? You more mean that you just made the best thing you could make and then you
Yeah.
submitted.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you bribed the Tribeca
Oh
panel
no,
or.
no! I didn't know
Just kidding.
anyone. You know, like I was just, you know,
Oh,
like
that's
a little
awesome.
girl from Merida, Venezuela,
Yeah.
applying to Tribeca, and who
Yeah.
got in.
Well, again, congrats.
Thank you.
No, it's very cool. So then you got to go to you world premiered it at Tribeca. What was
Yes.
that like?
Oh, that was so amazing and scary.
First
And
time to New York for that experience, or had you been there before?
no, I've been there before because I have a brother that lives in the U.S. Since the year 2000, literally. So, and he lived in New York for like a couple of years. And my parents and we visited him once in New York. So it wasn't my first time in New York, but it was, of course, my first time in Tribeca. It was my first time on a film festival as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so huge. The amount of things happening, the amount of like cool things that you got to do and people that you got to meet. As a filmmaker in Tribeca and as a women filmmaker in Tribeca, well, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it is. You get invited to like a Chanel luncheon thing where like in my luncheon there was hi, I forgot her name and I just watched her film last night. Don't Worry Darling and Booksmart.
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde was there. Yeah, one of the girls from Girls, you know, like HBO Girls.
Mhm.
I don't know, Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City, the actress that was
I don't
running
I
for
don't I
mayor.
don't watch that one.
Yeah. But I mean, they were there, and it was like
Yeah.
an amazing experience. They gave you like a Chanel number 5 perfume as well that I gave to my mom.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was the whole film festival was a great experience. And like I got to the festival, like actually got there because I did a crowdfunding campaign. I didn't really have the resources to travel to New York and all of
Okay.
that.
You were like, help me get the Tribeca.
Yes.
This is literally my dream.
Yes.
Forget making the movie. Like, I just want to go to the film festival. That's why this is what it's all about.
Exactly. No, but yeah, I did a crowdfunding campaign and I raised like I think it was $3,500. So I paid the ticket and I paid the. No, I had a friend who opened their home for me.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and so I flew there and enjoyed my time there. And in my program, like they always schedule short films with other short films, right? So, or not always, but most likely. And in my program, there was this short film by an Italian director called Marta Sabina. And we became close friends. She's really, really nice. And at some point, I believe we were sitting down before the premiere, right? And I sat down and we were next to each other. And I said, Marta, this is huge, right? Or this is just me. Is this just me? Because I'm like from Venezuela and like this seems huge. And she's like, no, this is huge. I just talked to my parents and this is huge.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was really cool. It really, really cool.
That sounds cool. I've never experienced that, so that sounds lovely. No, that sounds awesome. Okay. How many festivals have you attended? I mean, it's like, okay, I guess the question then in my brain is like, all right, the Tribeca's an awesome festival, great experience. You're in the room with really cool people that have done really cool things and you may look up to in certain ways.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering if that inspired further attempts at other festivals or if Tribeca was like the one and you were happy and you kind of left it at that, or if you even still push for festivals as much. I know I saw you at a festival in New York
Yes.
last month.
Yeah.
Happenstancely. But yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, we still kept applying, to other festivals, and there was another festival called Pink Apple Film Festival from Switzerland, and it's actually free to apply. It's an LGBTQ film festival, though, so all the films are LGBTQ related. But the good thing is that it's free to apply. They for best short film they award like the thing, the Pink Apple thing trophy, and then they also give you $2,000 or euros, and then they fly the director to the festival. So
they fly every director that gets accepted, or wait,
no,
sorry, if you win,
if you win, and you find out like a couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah, they have their jury selections
so they
prior
can
to the,
they can fly the
that
director,
makes
no?
sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, that's the other festival that I attended with Salta because they flew me over
That sounds
there.
awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool. And the thing that was really crazy, at least for the immigration officer, that because the flight was from New York because it was right after Tribeca to Spain and then to Switzerland. And then in Spain, the immigration officer was like, how long are you staying here for? And I'm like, no, I'm going to Switzerland and I'm staying here for 4 days. And he's like, you coming to Europe for 4 days? Well, I didn't have any more money, I didn't have the prize award yet. But I was like, yeah, I am. Okay, that was kind of weird, and he let me through because I was only staying for 4 days. Nowadays, I wish I would have done something to stay longer, because I was in Europe. No,
That's another crowdfunding campaign.
Exactly.
Hey everybody, I'm going to Switzerland. Help fund my vacation, please. I want to try some wine and I want to go.
Yeah. But that was like the other festival. I believe those two were the only ones that I could attend, because that's
Okay.
also like the hard part of. I don't know how features work because I have not directed features, but I guess it will be nice to always reserve a part of the budget for the distribution and attending festivals part.
Yeah, it's almost like part of the marketing budget,
Yeah,
essentially, is
exactly.
you're there, well, quite literally marketing the film
Yep.
at the fest.
Yep.
So yeah.
But also, plus that cost money. So yeah, I couldn't like attend any more festivals. I think we had, I don't know, like 15 or 18 more like selections, which
Nice.
was cool. But for example, we got selected on a festival in Argentina, and one of the actresses had moved there, so she attended there. So that was the cool thing about the Venezuelan diaspora regarding my film, is that the film got selected in some countries where some people of the crew were living there, and they got to attend and like kind of like
Okay.
represent the film.
That's very lovely.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
if you
it was
can't be there, hopefully somebody else can.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was nice.
very nice. Okay.
So there's that regarding that project, that film.
Yes, let me see. Let me see here. We're doing great.
Muy bien.
Muy bien. I have a random question here.
Okay,
I'm
let's hit it. Hear it.
I'm very curious about people's Instagram bios and like what people include in their Instagram bio.
Okay.
You have this mention of Mustache Mondays
Yes.
on your Instagram.
Yes.
What does that mean? What is that?
Yeah, Mustache Mondays is a documentary I
Oh yes,
directed.
okay, great.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's a documentary I directed last year for KCET, which it's like a secondary PBS TV station on Southern California. I'm not saying it right, but it's something like that. The network's called KCET, and it's an hour-long documentary that was part of the docu-series called Artbound. We won an award for that one on the Los Angeles Press Club or something like that.
What was the award?
First place on gender and society category.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We were very happy of that.
Is that one accessible to?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you look for Mustache Mondays Artbound or Mustache Mondays KCET, you're gonna find it there.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's just briefly, it's about a queer party that ran from 2008, I would say, 2008 to 2019, in downtown LA. And it started as a party that just a group of friends wanted to make because they didn't have a place where they played the music they liked, where they had artists they really liked. So they just started this weekly party that went on for more than 10 years. And it became also like an incubator for underground artists that are nowadays out there, doing amazing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds about, yeah, it's one of those events that starts small and then expands to mainstream notoriety, and
exactly.
you almost forget about the origins, like thinking about like Burning Man and stuff like that. They always start
Exactly.
like really niche, and then before you know it, well, not even before you know it, it takes a lot of long, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time, but
So you went and did that whole documentary. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. I totally forgot about, yeah, seeing it out of context. Seeing it out of context in your bio, I was thinking of like we're currently entering, this is like October. We're in October, right? Yeah.
Yes.
There's like No Shave November, and there's like it's Movember. Movember. People grow out their mustaches in November. It's kind of like a tradition or something. I don't know. I've never done it. I don't.
Okay.
It's dumb. But like Movember, so I was like Mustache Mondays. What do you do on mustache? Like there's Taco Tuesday, Mustache Monday.
Yeah.
But okay.
But that's actually a good comment now. Like it's good feedback. So now I'm gonna go back and revisit my bio and see how I can make it more obvious.
Maybe
that it was like something I directed.
Yeah, because I do recall you bringing that up to me. But yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to ask another director question here, because this is something that I've been kind of like wrestling with a little bit myself.
Okay.
Now, thinking about remind me again. We were both in New York at the same time. We had our overlap there. We're there for
Mm-hmm.
like a Latino film festival.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
The New York Latino Film
the New
Festival,
York Latino Film Festival.
of course.
What project were you? Because I made the screening event. I didn't get to
Yes.
I didn't get
I
to watch it.
know.
I was
It's
so
okay.
sad.
It's okay.
So close. What project was this one?
This was Blessed and Highly Favored. This is a comedy that I directed with my wife. We also wrote it together, and it works as a standalone piece, but it's actually it also works as a proof of concept for a half-hour comedy
Okay.
series that
Okay.
that we have. Well, we have the script, and we want to continue develop it. And it's about two queer Latinas who dream of making it in the Hollywood film industry, but when their visas and destiny are put on hold by immigration services, they end up working on a cash paid job on a marijuana farm in Northern California.
Okay.
Loosely based on personal experience.
Loosely based. It's not my story, guys. No, it's okay. All right. So you ventured more. Yeah, you were working those comedy muscles on this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because my wife, she's a writer, and she's also a costume designer, but she's a writer who writes comedy.
Yeah.
So we got together to work on that one, and yeah,
You made it happen.
yes,
Okay. So the question being, all right, there's a couple. This is almost like a therapy session, if
yes.
you will.
Bring it.
So as a creative, as a creator, as a filmmaker,
Yeah.
director, especially if you're the writer of the project too, I guess maybe I'll ask, how do you approach? Okay, how do you approach? There's okay.
You got
I'll blurt out
this.
some questions. Question
Okay.
number one: how do you approach getting feedback on a work in progress? Whether you do that or not, whether whose feedback you get, or whether you know, like, all right, is this edit good? How do I know when to lock the picture? Is the score working? Is this even landing? Like, I've been sitting with this project too long. I'm not I'm not. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of get lost in the weeds sometimes. So there's the feedback aspect in the work in progress phase, and then there's the how do you know when it's done? How do you know when it's ready to to be put out into the world? And then after it's put out into the world, handling people's reviews and thoughts on it, on like things that maybe people might unsolicitedly give you, like, oh, I wish like maybe you could have done this better. This is, this
Mm-hmm.
kind of was a but this bumped me or whatever the.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all the questions I want,
Okay.
yeah. How do you do it?
Regarding the feedback, right? When you're still like working on it. I believe what we did, Julieta and I, with Blessed and Highly Favored was uh, sending it to, of course, friends who are supportive and who are going to also be truthful, on like, this joke didn't really land or something like that, which is really good. And we send it to also some people who are not like close friends, but who are specialists on comedy, who work on comedy a lot. So those are the feedbacks that matter to us, right?
And I guess just to
Yes.
do you go through this process on the script as well?
Yes, we did it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, we went through this with this process with the script more than with the film.
Yeah, it
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then knowing when the project is done, I know this sounds cliche, but you always find stuff like, I wish I would have cut that sooner or later or something like that, small details. But for us, it did happen that we got funding for this short through NALIP, National Association of Latino Independent Producers. And we had a timeline, no? And we had a deadline that we had to meet. So at first, the first version of this short was like 10 minutes long. And there was this thing that we always like, we were not sure, we were not sure, we were not sure. And yeah, and I just sat down and chopped it a little bit, you know. And now it's 8 minutes and a half, and yeah, there is a scene that is gone, but I feel that it works better, right? It like it goes to the point more quickly, especially because it's comedy, you know. And comedy, it's just like you have to like make people laugh, 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 laugh.
Yeah, otherwise
When
it,
it's
yeah,
like pure comedy.
otherwise you can kind of feel the room kind of just
Yeah.
getting a little bit squirmy and like yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and you don't want that. So yeah, um after that second like revision, like big revision, you know, second good picture lock, then we said like, okay, it's now it's time to start submitting, and well, let's get it out there.
Okay, well, I guess sorry, did you have more or
No, 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 and I just thought about the other, but
yeah, yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
I'll segue into that. So it is helpful when you have those external deadlines that are being put on
yeah,
you.
yeah,
That's one way to know. It's like, well, this has to be done
hmm,
because we got money from these people and
yeah,
they expect a final draft submitted by the state.
yep,
So we have to. That kind of puts a pressure cooker on the decisions you got to make, and then you're just like, all right, well, we made it. We're happy. We kind of have to be happy
deliver,
under the
yeah,
circumstances,
yep.
and it's done. Great. So then, what about? I don't know with like Alta. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
was that also deadline driven or was it
No,
self imposed?
no, no. It was self-imposed. The deadline here was the Tribeca submissions, like
How
that.
much time did you have? Plenty of time.
Mm, I mean, I would say yeah, because we had like we took like I would say 2 months for editing, but maybe a month of it was kind of like organizing everything, or the editor watching all the footage, which was a lot because there was a lot of improvisation and there was a lot that you know now I know that that's not needed. You don't need to like shoot like millions of gigabytes to get something. Now I'm more conscious about that, but it's
Yeah,
good.
conscious, confident.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
confident as well. Effective. But yeah, with Salta, the deadline was the
Salta. I said
Tribeca.
Alta. I
Yes.
forgot the S. I knew I was gonna mess it up. Salta. Yes.
The deadline was Tribeca, but the good thing about Tribeca is that you can also send a link that
Your work in
yeah,
progress
yeah, yeah,
version. Your near final.
yeah. But of course, you want to send something that it's close to the. I think what we sent was a picture log that had no color correction,
Yeah.
which was good.
Yeah. But it was scored and mixed, and
I think so. I would say.
I would hope. So. I mean, that's my biggest. Yeah. Either way.
Hmm.
So okay. So again, how do you know when it's? How do you know when it's done?
Um, I would say it's just you let it go. You just like, okay, this is it. Sometimes it's like, okay, it's been long enough and I need to move on. And just like, okay, this is it. Like this was the best that I got to do up until this point, and that's it. And I'm closing the books and moving on to the next one.
Because it feels so much. Okay, one thing that I try to avoid
Mm-hmm.
is I don't want it to sound like when I talk about my projects. I
Yes.
don't want it to be like, well, almost like the talking down of it. It's like, well, this is the best I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with it. And it's like, you don't sound happy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, I am. Like, I'm very proud of the work we did.
Yeah.
And I think the decisions we made were the best decisions along like the whole process. Is that was the best writing we can do on that timeline, the best on the given day, the
Yeah.
best on each scene, the best in the edit. You do the
Yeah.
best you can along the whole process,
Yeah.
and then you doubt everything. No, 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 it's not that bad. But yeah, I guess I don't like I'm I I don't like when it sounds like we're settling.
Yeah.
with our because it's like, oh, we're out of time. This we have to live with it. Feels like we're settling on a thing. Like it could be better. We just don't have the time. Maybe versus like, no, I'm definitively knowing I'm happy. Like this is
Yeah. Well, for example, what happened to us with Blessed and Highly Favored is that we had this deadline that we had to meet, and we did. But we did with a short film that was, well, a minute and a half too long, and
mhm.
we were both like, maybe we can do better, and it was something that was fixable, so
And
we
you were the editor on this one, or
no,
you?
there was another editor, but he was already like he helped us. We could pay him something, but we couldn't like pay him again, to
Yeah,
sit
so
down.
he handed over the stuff and
Yeah,
you could play with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what we did, and after that we were like, oh, okay, now this is the best that we can do, and we are happy with it because we are happy with it. Like
Yeah.
at the end, it's a thing that takes so much time and effort that well, you better be happy.
You, yeah, it's mental gymnastics a little
Yeah,
bit there.
yeah,
How was it co-directing?
yeah. It was nice because we could split the at least on set, for example. It's like, okay, one was taking care of, like, I was taking care of, okay, let's position the cameras, and then the other was taking care of, okay, yes, this is the look that we want for the actors, or yes, this is the look that we needed for the wheat garden that we needed to kind of like build. So it was really interesting, very nice. Also, we shot with two cameras, and we couldn't get like two monitors, so it was good to have one eye on each camera, right? Like one director on each
Oh,
camera.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it was fun, and it was also really good because, well, we prepped the two of us in our house, with like, okay, this is what we want to do. And, like, okay, this is our plan. And now we get there, and okay, when we explain the plan to everyone, and it was really nice. And it's also really cool to now get the opportunity to attend, events together with like a project that we both did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ha Great. So yeah, you had a good. Was there ever, not to go negative here?
Nah.
Well, was there any difficulties on? Because I've co-directed as well, and
Okay.
sometimes a question gets like, film sets move fast,
Yeah.
and decisions have to be made like that, and you
Yeah.
have to be definitive with it. So when it's like, all right, well, we want to make an adjustment, or we need to block this scene, was there like a workflow thing where one person kind of, was there conflict on like, oh, I see it this way and I see it this way when they're,
Yeah, I would say like that's normal, and it did happen, but like I said, we would talk about it before, just the two of us, and decide. Like, I would say like, oh no, but what if we do it like that? And then Julieta, no, but I think I like it more like this. And we would just come up with a plan that was a fusion of those two
yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
And then whenever we went to set or rehearse, we would have, like, a way.
You kind
uh,
of you kind of had all those answers prepped already. That
yeah,
was okay.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah, it was good. And of course, like, during the shoot, things come up, and yeah, sometimes you have to like give us 2 minutes, we're gonna talk about this,
Okay,
decide,
okay.
make the decision, and then come back with
Yeah,
it.
or I'm sure sometimes too. I know this was the case when I was co-directing with Jamie. Sometimes you just have like being that you're familiar with each other enough, you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
just almost give a glance,
Yeah,
and you can like I
exactly.
could communicate to you that like I don't really have anything for this, and then you'd communicate that no, I got an answer. It's like, all right, yeah, you
Exactly.
you do the thing, and then
Exactly.
we trade off on that too. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
healthy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that's how we know projects are done. Okay.
Yes. There was another question.
I think it was the review process
Aha, the
after.
unsolicited
Yeah,
feedback.
like after people are watching it, like at a film festival or friends that you like. Let's just say you sent me the link, And then I watch it and I start critiquing. I start critiquing the thing. I was like, well, here's what I would have done. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Blah. Well, the score could have done. Blah, blah, blah. Like I don't know. How do you process all that?
Um, if the film is done, it's like, well, thank you. I mean, and literally, but what can I do? Just, okay, noted, and for my next project, no? Like, okay, this is a learning. Maybe the things that you are saying are things that I know, that
Yeah,
kind
that
of
happens a lot.
yeah, I know this is not the best, but it's what we could do, with the resources that we had. Um, and I don't know, that's why sometimes whenever someone asks me for feedback on stuff that it's, already picture locked and stuff like that, one, I don't, I'm not going to tell you like, oh, maybe this would have worked better, because I know you already worked it, and it's already picture locked. Like, whatever I'm gonna say, it's not going to change your movie. So I try to be always, like, more on the positive side, and just talk about the good things that I found on the film.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a thought
Okay.
and I totally lost it.
Ay, ay,
Oh
ay.
shucks. Okay, but yeah, focusing on because I mean that's again. I could That's why we get along,
Mm,
Marianne. It's because we think the same.
yeah. No, because and it's also, and if you send me some feedback on stuff that it's already done, it's like, yeah, I get it, and thank you, and yeah, let's talk about something else, because whatever you're saying, it's not going to
Yeah,
happen
I
to the
think I
film.
think the only because it is hard. Okay, I remember what I was gonna say.
Yay.
The thing is, people tend to like. Let's just say if you ask another director, it's hard. It's filmmaking. I've been okay. I decided to start pursuing the craft of filmmaking like 2013,
Okay.
and I've been making baby projects. I kind of worked my way, and then I moved to LA in 2018. So I did 5 years of like baby filmmaking stuff.
Okay.
Regardless, it's been the same forever. It's people tend to say things to you, like people project themselves onto you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you getting feedback from others in the filmmaking world is almost not helpful at all. It's kind of like it's helpful if you said, like you share it with specific people
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that you trust and have certain expertise,
Yeah.
and that specific feedback could be useful for specific elements.
Yep.
But if you're generally sharing it with the filmmaking community, you're going to get a flood of projected feedback. It's like, well, the
Mm-hmm.
performances could have done this, or the score could have
Mm-hmm.
done this, and it's like, well, these are things that they look for in their own, like they emphasize these in
Of
their own
course.
projects, or they prefer a score that's big and more apparent, and then another person's gonna like, the score was too much and I wanted less score, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, it just becomes taste at that point,
Yeah.
and it's not even helpful.
No.
But it still enters our brain and our ears, and we still
Yeah.
process it as, well, I made a bad decision. This
Mm-hmm.
person didn't like my work,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I could have maybe made better decisions. And the process flow. It still hurts for a while, and you have to remember that it's like, okay, this is just taste.
Yeah, and also you have to remember why you made that decision in that moment, and just like, yeah, I knew why, and I'm happy with it.
It's like, well, if you were there,
Exactly.
I wonder what you would have done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what? My decision was good.
Yeah.
Probably better than. Just kidding. No. All right. So there's that. That's something that's been on my. All right. I feel that we're nearing. I want to. Okay. We don't have to. Okay. One thing I want to ask.
Yes.
This is non-film related, but kind of film related.
Okay.
What does my notes say?
Uh-huh.
Okay. How I'm asking about, this is going to be a broad question, and you can interpret this how you will.
Okay.
how does one both pursue the craft? Again, we're going to talk about our plants again. We're watering this plant
Yeah.
to continue working as an AD,
Mm-hmm.
watering this plant because we have dreams to be directing more.
Yeah.
And then also we have a life.
Yeah.
How does one I'm asking you because you seem to have a nice healthy relationship.
Yeah.
How does one cultivate the plant here, the relationship plant? We'll call it. How did how because I'm asking because I'm a single dude.
Okay.
Been in LA for 4 years now,
Okay.
and I've talked about it on a previous episode too. It's not like my relationship therapy here
Yes.
is I kind of get surprised when I meet department heads and I'm like, oh wait, like you're a DP and you have wife and kids at home. Like how does that work? How do you
Uh-huh.
how do you have like you're over here all the time? How do you keep all of those people happy in your life? And I don't ask them that, but I
Yeah.
wonder.
Yep.
And then so how just speaking from the partner, the direct partner thing. What's the secret to
I would say um I don't know how couples do it when it's like ADP and then the other person is like a dentist. Like I don't know
yeah,
how
yeah.
they do it. And maybe it's easier for them. I'm not sure. Although this is just talking about other people. I did meet a DP on a shoot that his wife. I don't know what she does, but she's not on shoots. And the mutual agreement that they have is that he shouldn't take a project that is going to take more than 3 months of him out of the house. Like even if it's traveling or just three. If he lives in LA and the shoot is in LA, not more than 3 months. I would say that's like a nice
Yeah,
agreement.
so the communication,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then in my case, well, we like to work together, and we also have like our separate also activities or projects. Like we did do Blessed and Highly Favored together. We also have a short film that we wrote together, like more like a drama. But I'm also writing. Well, I just finished actually writing a feature
Oh
for
my.
yes, yes,
Oh.
yes. Ooh. It's an adaptation from like an American author, actually, a story written by her. And so I have that project on my own, and whenever I'm ADing, I'm normally also like on my own. Julieta on her side has she, like I said, she's also a costume designer, so she has like her business related to that. And I would say that that works out really, really cool. And the most fun part of everything is whenever we finish the project and we go on a date to celebrate.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so mentioned costume designer. Is
Yeah.
that on film projects as well?
Yeah,
Or
on
okay.
film and commercials and all that.
Okay.
Music videos. Yeah.
So, and then just to clarify too, did this relationship start in the States or is this is Venezuela?
Well, it's like a long story. No, but it's a long story that we actually met in Venezuela. She was premiering a feature that she wrote, a comedy, and we met in my city. I was like the judge. You know how film festivals have this 1 minute film competition sometimes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was this Venezuelan film festival and there was this competition. I was a judge, one of the judge or the jury of that competition. We met there. I moved to Caracas where she lived a year after, and we started dating. But then when we started dating, she had plans to move to Mexico because her father is from Mexico. So she was planning to move there, and my original plan was to stay in Venezuela forever. But
Mm.
then yeah, but then so we started dating, and she had that plan. So I knew it wasn't like really to going to work out in in the future. So yeah, she moved away, and then for 2 years we didn't really see each other. She was in Mexico, I was in Venezuela, and then we re-encountered in Tribeca in 2017. We went together to the film festival, and then well, we started dating again, and now we're married. Yeah, and
Okay.
living in LA.
Okay. So I've been trying to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All right. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I feel like, okay, so there were some early seeds planted in the relationship
Yeah,
at the early phases of the pursuit is
yeah.
what I'll call it. And then okay. And then now, yeah, Tribeca, now you're married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, that's lovely. It's a
Yeah,
lovely story.
yeah.
No. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a theme too. If I tend to see, it's like a LA, it's like an LA thing too. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I know when I first moved here, I heard someone explain relationships to me in the way of like uh you have to like move here with somebody essentially.
Mm.
Otherwise, like finding someone here doesn't really work, but if you've moved here with your partner, like most people, if you kind of like maybe ask about their backstories and they're successful couples in Los
Mm.
Angeles, it's like, oh yeah, we moved here from whatever. Oh, we moved here. Yeah,
Mm.
we knew each other, or yeah, we got together before I committed to going freelancer. Like,
Got it.
so you have that built in before time support combined into the I support you in this
Yeah.
next journey support. I don't know. Either way, that's just an observation.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds logical, and yeah, for sure. If you move together to LA, and are working in the same film industry, um, yeah, I would say that will probably make the couple stronger, right? I don't know, face the challenge of moving here and
Yeah,
then
it's a lot. Yeah,
starting.
there's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I would also say that this is I mean, since there's so many people working in the film industry, I would say you could find your
No,
one.
I'm not. Look, just to clarify,
Okay.
I'm not worried. I'm not. Okay. Either I don't. Whatever.
Exactly.
I'm
This is
not.
not what the podcast is about.
I'm not worried. Whatever.
Yeah.
The more of the thought. Okay. If I may worry about something,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. When I'm on set, I 0%. I mean, I don't. There's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's you want to be professional on
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't we all hear the whole Me Too thing is kind of like a whole other thing too.
Yeah.
But like just it's kind of common knowledge. People, we want to be treated as professionals when we're on set,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
women especially. Yeah, it's kind of like just everywhere, and you don't want to, yeah, as a guy, like as a
Yeah.
woman, you don't want to be hit on set when you're like,
Yeah.
I'm here doing my job and whatever. So I know from the very beginning of my career, it's been
Yeah,
be
no.
professional and
Yeah.
do your job, and well, I think it's worked out. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, either way.
No, because it's very important. It's I don't think I've had like a bad experience here, but for sure I've had experiences where it's like, dude, please, like I'm gay. And no. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, there are other ways like rap parties.
Really, yeah. Wait for the rap party. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. So it's lovely to hear though. You're both creatives, you both
Yeah.
are writers, you're both directors,
Yep.
you both have your other means of
Mm-hmm.
getting on set,
Yeah.
and you have the projects you work on together, the projects you work on separately.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely. It
Yeah.
sounds
You
very
see,
good.
you try to balance it, and it's not something that you plan. It's just something that happens, and it's like, okay, look, I want to do this. Okay, I support you, and like whenever I can, I'll help you out. But I'll also have
Yeah.
my own stuff.
Yes, that's what. Yeah. 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 Step by step.
Exactly.
Step one is like each other is a good beginning.
Yeah, that's important.
And then you can figure the rest out.
Exactly.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that's we're kind of at our time.
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
Well, no.
Nope.
No.
There's more to talk about, but we'll save that for our next episode next time you're on next year, and we can hear about everything else.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess okay. I don't want to. Oh. Let's just for the sake of planting the seed for follow up for the next time. What are you most looking forward to? Right now, currently, like what are you working? Like you mentioned, you finished the script.
Yes.
We're headed towards the end of this year. Maybe thoughts are starting about what do I want to do next year. What's cooking?
Yeah, no. I think that I want to start focusing more on directing. Like trying to get this feature up in its feet. I also have a documentary that I'm going to shoot with the university in New York called the New School about migrant women, Venezuelan women living in Colombia. So there's that for next year. I mean, we're going to shoot it at the end of this year, but of course it's going to be ready next year. And I would say, yeah, like that's just, for me, the plan is to try to focus more on directing. I'm applying to all the directing workshops that there are. Yeah.
Ooh.
Although sometimes I feel like all that time that you take applying to everything, what would happen if you take that time looking for money or something? I don't know, but that's just a thought that I've been having lately.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you. You too.
No, because I that inspires me. I always forget about those workshops. I always assume that it's never going to happen. But
it's like 1/3 is the talent that you have. I would say the other is the connections that you have. That I don't know if I have that many, and the other one is pure luck. Like it's nothing that you can control.
Yeah, it's a little bit of lottery ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you still have to. Yeah, there's zero chance if you don't submit.
Exactly. So whenever the selection comes out, the applicants or whatever, the winners, and you're not one of them, you at least feel good that you applied, because you feel worse when you don't, and it's like, oh, that could have been me, but I didn't apply. It's like, well,
yeah, well, maybe enter the ring.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So workshops, getting that feature. You got the documentary on.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes,
lovely,
yes.
lovely. Well, excited to hear about how all that goes.
Yeah.
We'll keep in touch.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
And hopefully we will see you on set again.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
We will see each other.
Yes. All right. So lastly, the very simple question for those that want to follow and be in the know and follow on the journey.
Yep.
Where is the best place to find you and keep in the loop?
I would say Instagram. My handle is at KUSA. That's KUSA LA USA. It has nothing to do with Los Angeles, USA, but it's just a nice rhythmic. I don't know, a nice thing to say in Spanish. KUSA la USA. KUSA is my nickname, so KUSA. Yes.
Great. All right, well, do that.
Yes.
I will remind. I plan on putting the short film Salta in the descriptions of the things. If you want to watch that, you can find it in the YouTube description or the other podcast links, the show notes or whatever.
Okay.
So do that. Make sure you also subscribe to the show. Give us a like, comment, do all those things if you enjoyed. And thanks for listening, and thanks for being a part.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely.
Yay.
Okay, that's the show. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.